welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, so Premier League managers have made a habit out of saying some pretty weird things, haven't they? Let's take a look at every Premier League club and see what manager that they've employed that has said something very deluded. Oh, by the way, try and hit 300k as soon as possible. Lads, so close right now. Honestly, if you subscribe, you'd honestly be the greatest human being ever invented. Oh yeah, Twitter and Instagram is there if you want to follow me on that. Alright, let's go. Arsene Wenger. Okay, so I couldn't quite find a needle in the haystack that was a deluded Arsene Wenger quote. Although I'm sure there's one in there. I mean, there's 20 years worth of material. But instead, how about just the fact that he thought Yaya Sanogo was an actual footballer and not some skinny beanpole who should have been stacking shelves in Asda? Christ above, he even put him in the starting lineup for a game against Bayern Munich. That's like cutting your hair with a goddamn lawnmower. It's not going to end well. Aston Villa, Tim Sherwood. I could have gone for Alex McLeish when he was saying he was going to be a success at Aston Villa. Ha! There's more chance of my mother giving birth to a sheep. But no, let's go for good old Tim Sherwood. A man who probably embarrasses himself on average 7 times a day.
Tim Sherwood. Aston Villa fans will be singing my name in 4 weeks.
9 days later.
Tim Sherwood sacked after 8 months.
So yeah, I mean, within 4 weeks, that man was probably sitting at home with his feet up, watching reruns of Jeremy Kyle. I'm guessing Villa fans were too busy wishing Julian Lescott was dead than to care about singing your goddamn name. Bournemouth, Eddie Howe. Look, Eddie Howe seems a level-headed fella who has his head very much screwed on, but this was weird.
Bournemouth players told to wear orange glasses to help them play better.
I'm sorry, what?
It is so important that players get a good night's sleep, so the orange specs are used before they go to bed to cut out the white light going into their eyes and brains, hopefully to give them a better night's sleep.
Or they could just close the curtains like a normal human being. Brighton, Gus Poyet.
Poyet won't sell wing wonder who he rates as better than Zaha. He's not for sale. It doesn't matter how many millions they are putting on the table in January. He is going nowhere. How much are they talking about for Zaha? 10 million? They're going to have to go over that because he is better. I've got no doubt.
He was talking about Will Buckley. I can only assume Poyet had snorted a half a bowl of glue that morning. Either that or just been sucking petrol out of his car. Because these were the ramblings of a madman. Do you want to compare careers, right? Zaha is now rated at £90 million and is one of the best players in England. When Buckley did leave Brighton, it was for £2.5 million to the Sunderland bench, despite the fact that he's a Newcastle fan. Now he's just after re-signing for Bolton, club who 2 weeks ago nearly didn't exist. Burnley, Owen Coyle. Remember when Owen Coyle left Burnley for Bolton in January 2010? Despite them being 4 places behind them and stuck in the relegation zone. But he attempted to justify this move, not by admitting that,
I was given a massive f***ing paycheck!
but by saying this.
Burnley are at least 5 years behind Bolton, claims Owen Coyle.
Yeah, it's 9 years later. Burnley are comfortably mid-table in the Premier League and have been for a while Bolton... Let's not talk about Bolton. Chelsea, Jose Mourinho. I mean, just look at Jose Mourinho's final few months at Chelsea. When he started to blame everything from his staff, to the fans, to the officials, everyone. He was calling certain results fake. No, Jose, it was nearly Christmas and you were most definitely hovering above the relegation zone. Crystal Palace, Alan Pardew.
Crystal Palace's Alan Pardew. I want England job, but not yet.
If you ever need an example of a football manager being so wrapped up in his own heightened perceptions of his abilities, blinded by the reality that he's actually one bad run of form from getting tossed on the scrap heap, it's this.
I want to be the England manager. It is a job I aspire to and is an ambition of mine. But not now. Now I have a big job at Crystal Palace. I do hope the Football Association will want to talk to me, and I have strong opinions on England, but I've been asked if I wanted the England job, and I've given my answer. One day.
6 months later.
Crystal Palace sack Alan Pardew.
And then?
West Brom sack Alan Pardew.
And then?
Alan Pardew found dead in his apartment eaten by his hamsters.
Okay, hopefully not, but you get my point. Talking of the England job when you were just 2 sackings away from getting forgotten about forever. Come on, Alan. Everton, David Moyes. Yes, he said this several years after leaving, but still, alright? It doesn't make it sound any less deluded, I can promise you that.
David Moyes says his Everton side were close to Premier League title shot.
Okay, alright, hold off on the white coats yet, alright? Let's hear him out first.
We were probably a centre forward away from being contenders for the Premier League. We had Mikel Arteta, Stephen Pienaar, Leighton Baines, Seamus Coleman, Sylvain Distin, Phil Jagielka. You could go on with the players we had.
These are just a bunch of mid-table players. Arteta aside, not one of these players ended up playing for a team better than Everton. Then again, why am I surprised? This is the same man who dragged Fellaini to Old Trafford and made Rio and Vidic watch tapes of Phil Jagielka, which is a bit like sitting Jessica Alba down and telling her to mother herself on Sharon Osbourne. Leicester City, Nigel Pearson. I'm not sure if this really qualifies as deluded, but during Leicester's great escape 14-15 season, Nigel Pearson just seemed to want to pick fights with journalists every other week, even referring to one as a goddamn ostrich. What? Liverpool Roy Hodgson. Alright, cast your mind back to October 2010. Roy Hodgson is 8 games into his Liverpool career, and the Reds are second bottom of the goddamn league. The previous week, they just lost at home to Blackpool. Now they just lost 2-0 in the Merseyside derby. Fans were starting to worry that, maybe Hodgson wasn't this esoteric saviour and was instead just some confused owl in a trench coat.
The Liverpool display was best so far since Roy Hodgson despite Everton win. We didn't score goals and Everton did, but I refuse to accept that we were in any way outplayed or any way inferior. I watched the performance and the second half was as good as I saw a Liverpool team play under my management, that is for sure.
Oh, good crap. How is this man drawing positives from losing the derby, which leaves them edging towards the foot of the goddamn division? It was the worst start for a Liverpool manager since 1928. Then again, why am I surprised? This is the same man who put Harry Kane on corner kicks. Man City, Pep Guardiola. I mean, now that I think of it, it was pretty deluded of Stuart Pearce to think that David James made a better centre forward than John Mackin. He was a goalkeeper. Why don't we? It's like letting a dog drive a bus. But alright, Pep Guardiola is a managerial genius, but some of the things that man comes out with, he dishes out exaggerated praise to a crazy extent. Honestly, he's probably the type of lad who tells the canteen lunch lady that she's just served him the most beautiful cuisine he's ever had in his life, despite it just being a bowl full of 4-day-old sloppy Joe, which probably smells like a Hungarian armpit. I mean, look at some of these comments. After a 4-2 win over Maurizio Sarri's Napoli side in October 2017.
Guardiola after Napoli, maybe best team I've ever faced.
Napoli. Not that Real Madrid side who smashed over 100 points. Not the Inter Milan team who won the treble. Not even his old Barcelona side who knocked him out of the 2015 Champions League. No. It was Napoli who were the best. Easy with the crazy praise. It's like when your mother tells you you're the most handsome boy in school, despite it clearly looking like a tractor ran over your face.
Phil Foden is the most talented player I've ever seen.
Oh, come on! Now, I rate Phil Foden, alright? And I get that managers are supposed to build up confidence in their players, but come on, Pep, at least make it believable. You literally worked with Leo Messi. Come on, Pep, what happened to that man who refused to believe the English hype and ruined Jack Wilshere in 20 seconds by saying that there was many of him in the Barca reserve team? Like, come on, Phil Foden is good, but he's not even half the player Iniesta was at that age. Next they'll be telling me John Stones is the next Beckenbauer. Man United, Sir Alex Ferguson.
Robin Van Persie could have been killed, claims Sir Alex Ferguson.
Oh heavens no, what happened? Was Van Persie chucked in front of a moving train? Did he contract type 2 hepatitis? Was he forced to watch 4 consecutive hours of The Big Bang Theory? No, his life-threatening affliction was... getting hit in the head with a football. Newcastle, John Carver. Don't get me wrong, Steve McLaren ran this man close when he said upon his appointment in 2015 that he was here to win trophies. Had the man not been paying attention for the last 10 years? How in a cat's menstrual cycle were the club expected to compete when they couldn't even make it past the bastard third round of the goddamn FA Cup? Clearly, Mike Ashley put winning silverware on the same level of importance as keeping a low-fat diet. And considering that man probably coats his morning Weetabix with half a tub of butter, I'm guessing we won't be seeing Jamal Lascelles lift anything above his head. But no, I mean, the winner here is clearly John Carver. Given the reins of power in 2015, which is like giving the keys of your Porsche to a Chelsea left back. What? Ashley Cole was done for speeding? I'm not alluding to anything here.
Newcastle's John Carver. I'm the best coach in the Premier League.
Yeah, this man somehow managed to turn what was going to be a top-half finish into a relegation battle. He openly dreamt of a team of Jack Colbacks, despite the fact that it's human fact that looking at 11 gingers in quick succession is enough to turn a man blind. And he also conspired to lose 13 games in 4 months. But yeah, best coach. Norwich City, Chris Hughton. Look, I'll admit, I found this one tough to dig out a deluded quote from a Norwich manager. But alright, back to the autumn of 2013. Club record signing Ricky van Wolfswinkel hadn't scored since his debut, so Chris Hughton obviously, wanted to build up his confidence a bit.
First and foremost, you want to make sure he's doing a good job for the team, which he is. And I'm quite sure that if he continues in that vein, the goals will come.
They didn't. At all. Sheffield United, Neil Warnock. Yes, Neil Warnock is a man who constantly looks like he's just burned his tongue. But yeah, in 2007 he probably had a right to complain. Sheffield United were relegated thanks to Carlos Tevez, who should never be on the pitch for West Ham. But at the time, Warnock was just a helicopter of rage, propelling his sense of injustice at anyone within a 5-mile radius. Liverpool were preparing for a Champions League final in May 2007. So yeah, they chucked out a slightly weakened team against Fulham, who were a relegation rival, and yeah, they ended up losing.
I'll never forgive Benitez for playing what wasn't even a reserve team. I'd understand it if the Champions League was was the following week, but he was 18 days away. He didn't give two hoots.
Christ above it, it must have been a pretty rotten Liverpool team. You know, that handed Fulham the 3 points, you know, to make Warnock this angry, to talk about it. I mean, you know, it was probably a team filled with lunch ladies, ball boys, and lads dragged in from out the pub. No, it wasn't. Not even a reserve team. I'm sorry. Reina, Arbeloa, Hipia, Alonso, and Bellamy. That is a damn strong spine. And all of them would have walked into that Fulham team. It was a good enough team. Come on, stop overreacting. Southampton, Mark Hughes. After every sacking, at every club, Mark Hughes always tells the world that I wasn't to blame. He did more of the same with Southampton last Christmas. Yeah, you were, Mark. Tottenham, Tim Sherwood.
Spurs boss Tim Sherwood, I would have got Champions League place.
Watford, Brendan Rodgers. 10 years ago, Brendan Rodgers was under pressure at Watford, edging ever closer to the sack. The last thing you want when you're on a horrendous run of form is another guaranteed loss. You just want a nice FA Cup home tie against Accrington Stanley. You know, just to get the confidence up. Not a trip to the home of the Champions League runners-up, but he was seemingly delighted about it. Why? West Ham, David Moyes. And Moyes makes this list again. Right, back in early 2018, David Moyes was at West Ham and he said this.
West Ham had arguably the best January of any club in the Premier League.
Best January of any club in the Premier League. What? Listen, I get that your constant stream of failures must have scrambled your brain in the last 5 years, but that is pretty specialist even by your standards. Your business consisted of Jordan Hughton and a clearly insane Patrice Evra on a free. Am I missing something? Wolves, Dean Saunders. When Dean Saunders was appointed Wolves boss in January 2013, his catalogue of ever-changing statements just made for hilarious viewing.
Wolves can still fight for promotion, says new boss Dean Saunders.
4 weeks later.
Wolves squad good enough to stay up, insists winless Dean Saunders.
3 months later.
Dean Saunders battles to stay after Wolves are relegated again.
2 days later.
Dean Saunders sacked after relegation to League One.
Oh, Dean. Should have just not said anything. Anyway, that's the end of it, lads. Let me know. Can you remember any deluded quotes that came out of a manager of your team? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, we'll talk to you in a while.